Headlines. Corey Graves confirms he is medically cleared to compete. WWE confirms name changes for Wrestlemania 38, Night 1 and Night 2. When will we find out what Tony Khan's big announcement is? Shane McMahon spotted with leading sports figure from outside pro wrestling. Former WWE champion is already planning for 2023 Royal Rumble. We are kicking off today with Corey Graves, whose in-ring career ended nearly a decade ago due to concussions. Since then, Graves has worked as a commentator for the company. But it is reported earlier this month that he had long last been cleared to wrestle. At the time, nobody from WWE confirmed the report, but in an interview with TMZ Sports, Graves confirmed that he is cleared to compete once more. Speaking about in-ring returns, Graves said it's crossed his mind and he's got the itch to wrestle, but added it's not an immediate goal of his right now. Between being medically cleared to compete and his new YouTube series with his fiancée Camilla set to drop later this month, things are certainly looking up for the former NXT Tag Team Champion, who could one day add more titles to his collection, years after being told he could never wrestle again. Over to RAW now, as this week's show saw an appearance by Edge, who teased several opponents for WrestleMania 38. During his segment, the Hall of Famer hinted at possibly facing AJ Styles, Finn Balor, Damian Priest, or even Cody Rhodes this April, but stopped short of actually naming an opponent. It's been rumored for some time that Styles is the likely opponent for Edge, but according to WrestleVotes, this week's promo was kept deliberately vague in case plans have to change for WrestleMania. Their reports add that creative is leaving a ton of space for stories right now, in case any of the big matches this April don't go as planned. So far, only a handful of matches have been made official, with WWE not yet naming Edge's opponent or confirming rumors Stone Cold Kevin Owens match. But with mere weeks left, the two-night card is far from set in stone. WrestleMania's card is still subject to change, and according to reports, so is the name of this year's biggest premium live event. For the third year in a row, this year's show will happen across 2 nights, kicking off on April 2nd and ending on April 3rd. But WWE is ditching the Night 1 and Night 2 taglines used since 2020. Fox Sports' Ryan Satin notes that instead the shows will be called WrestleMania Saturday and WrestleMania Sunday. But there is no explanation as to why this change has been made. For what it's worth, WWE have said that WrestleMania 39 will be a one-night show that will happen on April 2nd, 2023. But should those plans change, expect these new names to carry on next year. Since being released from WWE in 2020, Matt Cardona has proven himself outside the company, most recently captured in the NWA World Heavyweight Championship for Trevor Murdoch. Winning the title 2 weeks ago, Cardona joins names like Ric Flair, Terry Funk, Dusty Rhodes, and Sting. But he has his own thoughts on the iconic National Wrestling Alliance. Speaking to Sports Illustrated, Cardona said he didn't watch NWA growing up, and cited himself as a WWF fan, and had some unfavorable comments in the promotion he's on top of. When I was a kid growing up, I thought NWA was old, dated, and boring. I was a WWF fan. Now it's 30 years later, and I still think that NWA is old, dated, and boring. I'm here to save the place, even if I'm getting booed for it. So far, Cardona has yet defeated the NWA World title, but has said he'd put it on the line against Sting, and whoever faces him next. The former, Zack Ryder, has some big changes in mind for the National Wrestling Alliance. AEW news now, as Tony Khan has been teasing a massive announcement in recent weeks, one that will supposedly have a huge impact on the wrestling world. Khan has kept quiet on what he'll be announcing, though it reportedly won't be a new signing, and has been speculated that some kind of super show is in the work between AEW, Impact, and New Japan. Whatever Khan's announcement is, fans won't be waiting for much longer, as when speaking on Busted Open Radio yesterday, he said his plans to make an announcement on the next episode of Dynamite on TBS. With Kenny Omega and Cody Rhodes leaving AEW, these are certainly interesting times for the All Elite promotion, and hopefully his announcement will have been worth all the wait coming Wednesday. Now, last month, Shane McMahon returned to WWE TV, but his comeback lasted mere days before he was released. Let go by his father after a series of incidents at the Royal Rumble, there is no word on where Shane will go next, but he's certainly meeting some important people. On social media, Shane resurfaced this week and tweeted a photo at an NHL game with Florida Panthers owner Doug Chifu. Shane's tweet was the first since last November, and a lot has happened in his life since then. And it wouldn't be too surprising if the former WWE executive tries his hand with ice hockey instead. Speaking of hockey, the Calgary Hitmen are a team up in Canada, and like the name suggests, are closely associated with Bret Hart. Now the two parties are teaming up as for their match 5 against the Edmonton Oil Kings. Hart will make an appearance in association with Calgary Prostate Cancer Center. Hart will be wearing a special jersey designed for the Hitman himself, with proceeds from the show going to fight prostate cancer. After beating cancer, this is a cause close to Hitman's heart, and being celebrated at this evening is a fate fitting for one of the greatest Canadian wrestler to ever grace the ring. More from Shane McMahon, who hasn't appeared in any other wrestling promotion since his departure from WWE, but some have suggested that he should go to AEW. This seems unlikely, but not according to Mike Chioda, who has plenty of experience working for the McMahon family. Released in 2020 after 31 years in WWE, Chioda now runs his own show, and during the latest Mailbag Monday, insinuated that Shane McMahon could come to AEW as part of a momental trade. AEW and WWE, are they working together? Are they trading Shane McMahon for Cody Rhodes? I would love to see Shane pop up in AEW. Don't be surprised if we see Shane pop up in AEW. Chioda went on to say that Shane can still go in the ring and would definitely bring attention to AEW. Two facts Tony Khan should consider when offering him a deal. While Shane could theoretically show up in AEW, it's far more likely that Cody Rhodes will return to WWE, as the entire wrestling landscape could all change very soon. And we're ending today with Kofi Kingston, who had unfortunately botched at this year's Royal Rumble event, which saw him eliminated early from the match. After years of incredible saves, Kofi's botch was tough for fans to watch, and Kingston is already making plans for next year's event. Speaking to Miami Herald, Kofi said he's already workshopping new ideas to avoid being eliminated, and called this year's a lesson in not being afraid to fail. There is something sad that Kofi already believes he won't have moved up the card by next January, and will instead be in the same match he's spent 13 of the last 14 years failing to win. And we'll just have to wait and see what the former WWE champion has in store next January.
Well guys, that's our news for today. Please share your comments below. Also hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell icon to receive all notifications. And as always, thanks for watching.